You're going to have so much money coming in from tariffs. Oh, you're going to say, your senators and your congressmen are going to say, please, sir, please. You're making us look so bad. We have so much money coming in. I didn't know this was going to happen. Please don't do this to us. We look very bad.
President Trump used a golf metaphor to describe his first 4 weeks in office. He compared the success of his administration to a sinking 4-foot putt in golf, saying that starting strong builds a confidence to the rest of the game. He mentioned how the tariffs were bringing in significant revenue, and though some lawmakers were hesitant, and also said the Republicans are sticking together unlike the Democrats, who he criticized for having rotten policies.
You're going to have so much money coming in from tariffs. Oh, you're going to say, your senators and your congressmen are going to say, please, sir, please. You're making us look so bad. We have so much money coming in. I didn't know this was going to happen. Please don't do this to us. We look very bad. But they're great. They're doing well. I tell you, the Republican senators, they're sticking together. The Republican congressmen and women are sticking together. Now, every once in a while, you have one that wants a little action or something. I don't know what it is. It's so sad to see. I just hate to see it. I hate to see it, but they're sticking together. One thing about the Democrats, they have rotten, horrible policy, the worst policy in history, but they stick together. We have great policy, but sometimes they don't stick, but they've been sticking for us. They've been sticking.
Trump expressed pride in his team unity and the unprecedented progress made in his early days in office, drawing parallels to a baseball player gaining confidence after hitting multiple successful at-bats.
Before. Nobody's ever seen anything like this, and nobody's ever seen 4 weeks like we've had, especially the 4 weeks, the first 4 weeks. You know, that's like if you golf, when you sink that first 4-footer in the first hole, it gives you confidence on the next hole. You sink another one. Now you go into that third hole and you can't, and by the time you get to the fifth hole, you feel you can't miss, right? Like a baseball player, he gets up and he hits our first one, and then the second at bat, he hits that one. And, you know, and we have great confidence, and they've lost their confidence, as I said. They really lost their confidence.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. If today is your first time, I'm excited to see you here. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Notice family for your top highlights and top trending videos. And without wasting much more time, let's continue.
And we've also effectively ended the left-wing scam known as USAID, the agency's name.
President Trump celebrated the end of what he called the left-wing scam, known as USAID. He mentioned that the agency's name had been removed from the building and the space would now be used by Customs and Border Patrol agents. Trump also criticized the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, calling it terrible and recalling how it hurt many banks and lending offices.
And we've also effectively ended the left-wing scam known as USAID, the agency's name. Has been removed from its former building, and that space will now house agents from Customs and Border Patrol. Beautiful.
He then said how these individuals were deeply affected by the agency's actions, which he claimed led to the destruction of small businesses. Trump pointed out that the CFPB was created by Senator Elizabeth Warren, referring to her as a Pocahontas.
And at the ultra-left CFPB, which was terrible. So many people have been hurt by that. I used to get calls from lending officers, from owners of small banks, and they were almost crying. What they did to those people, they destroyed them, put them out of business. It was established by Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren. Does anyone know?
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total efforts, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money, to be clear.
Before you watch the video, let me tell you a little bit about what actually happened at the White House. During a conversation at the White House, French President Macron corrected President Donald Trump after he claimed that Europe was loaning money to Ukraine and would eventually get it back. In response, French President Emmanuel Macron corrected him, stating, "No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort."
Just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid. We paid 60% of the total efforts, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money, to be clear.
Yeah.
We have 230 billion frozen assets in Europe, Russian assets, but this is not as a collateral of a loan because this is not our belonging. So they are frozen. If at the end of the day, in the negotiation we will have with Russia, they're ready to give it to us, super. It will be loan at the end of the day, and Russia would have paid for that.
If you
This is my
believe
wish.
that, it's okay with me.
This statement made it clear that Europe, led by France, had actually given Ukraine money in the form of grants and guarantees, not loans like Trump had mentioned. The two leaders had different views on how the money was being provided, with Trump focusing on loans, while Macron stressed that Europe help was not something to be paid back. This exchange shows how complicated international financial aid can be and how important it is to get the details right when discussing these matters.
This evening marks the 293rd birthday of our first president, George Washington, whose portrait hangs in the East Room. And the father of our country was a great general. He was unmatched, really, as a general up till that time. And he was also a great executive and a true statesman.
President Trump praised George Washington, highlighting his decision not to stay in office past 2 terms. He noted that Washington, on the 293rd anniversary on his birthday, was not only a great general, but also a skilled leader and a unifier of the nation. Trump emphasized that, despite immense popularity, Washington chose to step down, believing in giving others a chance to lead. He also referenced Washington's farewell address, where he stressed the importance of national unity and shared identity as the foundation of independence, peace, safety, and liberty.
The 293rd birthday of our first president, George Washington, whose portrait hangs in the East Room. And the father of our country was a great general. He was unmatched, really, as a general up till that time. And he was also a great executive and a true statesman. George Washington, by force of will and determination, he was also the ultimate national unifier. He was a great unifier. In fact, he could have stayed longer. They wanted him to stay longer, and he said, no, we don't want to do that. We want everybody to have a chance. We don't want to. He was very, very popular, and he refused to stay longer. And that in itself was possibly, at the early stages of government, a very important. Now, we have a very corrupt group of people in this country, and we're finding them out. We're removing all of the unnecessary, incompetent, and corrupt bureaucrats from the federal workforce. That's what we're doing.
Before you watch the video, let me give you a little bit of highlights about what Donald Trump said. President Trump discussed efforts to remove what he called corrupt and incompetent bureaucrats from the federal workforce. He emphasized that the goal is to make the government smaller and more efficient by keeping the best workers while getting rid of the worst.
We're removing all of the unnecessary, incompetent, and corrupt bureaucrats from the federal workforce. That's what we're doing. And under the buyouts, we offered federal employees more than 75,000 federal bureaucrats. Think of that. Have voluntarily agreed to surrender their taxpayer-funded jobs. We want to make government smaller, more efficient. We want to keep the best people, and we're not going to keep the worst people.
Trump celebrated that over 75,000 federal employees voluntarily left their taxpayer-funded jobs through buyout. He also made it clear that those who don't report to work will be fired, criticizing employees who might stay home or hold second jobs while being paid by taxpayers. Trump called for transparency, demanding government workers to show how many jobs they hold and who is paying them.
And, you know, we're doing another thing. If they don't report for work, we're firing them. In other words, you have to go to office. Right? Right? Look at her. If you don't report to work, you know, that's another scam. You know, who the hell, if I'm staying home, either that or, in many cases, they have second jobs while they're getting paid by us. So one of the reasons they're leaving is because they don't want to have to show that. And we're demanding to see that information. How many jobs have you had? Who paid you while you were working for the government? And we are demanding that people, if they work for the government, they have to show up and sit in an office and do their job, right?
Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hope to see you in the next video.